The latest UCS set has finally been released. Hello everyone, RobeTheMatoran here, back with a LEGO Star Wars UCS Ultimate Collector Series set review, and that is set number 75397, Jabba Sail Barge. It contains 3,942 pieces, and the set comes with 11 minifigs if you include Jabba. And this set retails for $500. I am not sponsored by LEGO, and more about that later, about how ridiculous that price is. If you would have bought this set early on October 3rd, you would have gotten the Luke's lightsaber gift for purchase. Obviously, at the time recording this, it's already gone. You gotta buy it on the secondhand market. I'm going to do a separate review of this on a later date, but I just wanted to mention that here. So looking at the front of the box, it's just your standard UCS box with the black void look and slight glow in the background. It's tan this time, just to represent Tatooine, I suppose. And on the side of the box, you get a front and back shot of the sail barge. So you just get the front shot and you get a back shot on either side you look at. I don't know which one specifically. And then on the back of the box, you just have just the open panels, because you can open all 6 of the panels of the sail barge and really get full access in there. It's actually like a play set, like a big giant play set here. So I really do like that already. And it even has the dimensions on the small part of the box. So this is a 30-inch long set, so it's going to take some space. With 3 simple stickers that keep you away from Destiny. Once you're opening the box, you're greeted with a movie image of the sail barge itself just flying through Tatooine, getting to the Sarlacc pit, and you get a picture of Jabba and Leia, a really nice picture there. And underneath that, you get a picture, well, the box actually itself, of Max Rebo, and the second box is Salacious Crumb on it. So any numbered the boxes, kind enough for them to number the box so you know which one to open, which they have just box 1 and box 2. Before we get into the opening of the box, I forgot to mention on the back of the box, before you open it, there is some shots of the movie and playset itself, just showing off just some of the play features you can do with the set itself and movie shots. Before you get your hopes up, there's only plastic bags. You get 36 of them in this set, but there are some few paper bags, so they're trying to be slightly environmental friendly. Obviously, this is the one with Jabba himself in it. They just separate them in 2 different paper bags, and there's this little paper plastic envelope, I guess, if you will. I don't know what you want to call it, but it has the sails in them, the cloth sails, and unfortunately, mine was a bit creased, so I have to figure out how to fix that. I guess you could just iron it, but I don't want to do all that. But hopefully I'll figure out a method before I finish building this. This set does come with a sticker sheet. However, it is quite small actually, surprisingly, even though I think a UCS set, they should just have all the pieces printed, because I think stickers are a bit cheap, but they do have some decent stickers. I actually like all of them. All of them here looks really good. And also, of course, you get 2 fat instruction manuals. They separate it from 1 to 2. It's just the rendered image you've seen before on the box. It's just the front image and the back image. Nothing too special there. Now, what is interesting is what's inside the instruction manuals, and that's of course the information about the sail barge and what the LEGO designer went to make the set, and some information, basic information about the sail barge also, and some really nice artwork here, and a few images of the movie shots and just some information on that as well. And of course, they're really trying to push you to buy that $80 set of the Sarlacc pit and Sandscape, because you're going to need that if you want to have all the characters that are actually involved in the scene, and they're pretty pivotal characters. So unfortunately, you have to pay that $80 to get the full scene if you really want that. So thank you, LEGO, for making us pay $80 more for this, but I'll talk more about that later. There is a cross section in this instruction manual about, I guess, all the stuff that can take out. It's kind of modular in that sense, so there is some fun stuff to take out and play with, of course, in the sail barge, because again, this is an actual like playset. One of the few UCS playsets that actually genuinely feels like a playset. I love how LEGO once said that the Slave 1 was a playset. Like the creator said that was, oh, this is a playset. No, it isn't. And also one last thing, they just show you how to pick up the sail barge. Now with that out of the way, we've finally got the full look of the UCS sail barge, and it is pretty darn big, if I say so myself. This thing is pretty huge. Like, I know the table's not doing it much justice here, and just the look of the camera, it's not, but this thing is really big. Like, when you see it actually in person, if you ever decide to buy this set, this thing is pretty darn big. And now, of course, it's a bit repetitive, especially when you build on the panels, because it's exactly identical on both sides. So honestly, when you build that main base of the sail barge, that's pretty much about it. Like the inside is really where you do all the real building. The stuff outside is kind of like the last minute stuff. So honestly, this is not too difficult to build. This set only took me about like 8-ish hours to make. And of course, this thing is super long and really long. It's not wide, it's just long, of course, because that's how the sail barge actually looked. When you do it like that, it almost looks kind of small, but there is some windows on the side, and they of course can move just like the previous sail barges in the past couple of decades, actually, because over the decades we've gotten two different sail barges. But yes, you can move the windows. You can have minifigs peek through. More on that later. And on the side, you can move it side to side, and of course you can move it in any direction you really want to, just for then you can have it your own way. I prefer like that instead of being at a fixed angle, so that's definitely good. And on the top deck, you have of course the very nice sails here. They're cloth, they're not vinyl, even though I think the vinyl one is probably the better one, unfortunately, because they can actually stay in their original shape and not be messed up over time, unfortunately, with cloth ones, even though the cloth one looks better and it feels better because it just looks better. But the sails are good, and I did manage to fix my problem with the side tip or the tips of it, because it was a little creased and you can still kind of see it a little bit on there, but I managed to fix most of it, because when I first initially got it, it was like bent in a really crazy way and it almost ruined it. But thankfully I did manage to recover it. Taking it a little bit all over the place here, but I want to look at the back of it, and it's really good. I love how they paneled that just right, and there's not too many gaps actually. Like you can see the gaps of course, but it's really tightly fixed in there where you really won't, it's not destroying the set, because it seemed like a really easy way to possibly ruin it. Like it seemed like it wouldn't take much to have this completely ruined, and it looks terrible, but it looks good. There's some nice detailing on it, of course, with just the 2x2 tile, like I want to call them tile vent pieces there, and just the half slopes on there. It looks really good. Like it looks good. And at the bottom, there's just the exhaust vents that, you know, help the thing fly, and it's, you know, just I always see that in the back of the sail barge, especially if you played the old Lego Star Wars 2 game. So I always know to associate that part. You know, when you get to that part, there's like a mini kit over there. It's super cool, and I don't know why, I just really like that part. The vents, the exhaust. It always looks kind of weird because it sticks out so awkwardly, but that is how it looks. So it's not like it's some weird way of them building it. It's just how it's supposed to be. Now moving back to the sails, you can of course easily take them off. They're just connected to a single axle point, and super easy to get a full view of that top deck that I want to show off in just a moment. And here's a quick look at the sails, taking a look at them upside down because it's the best way to show them, and for the cloth won't be damaged. And this is about the only Technic part that you're really going to get in this set, so if you're not a big fan of Technic, then I guess good for you, because then you don't really get a lot of it here. Just for the sails, kind of what you expect, and it's super simple. To move the sails, they're connected to a ball joint and super easy to move. Now, with the sails removed, you get this top view of the deck, and it looks super good. Now, it's an interesting choice that they used gray instead of the tannish color that they've been using for the other two sail barges here, so definitely an interesting choice there. I'm personally not a fan of it, but I know some people are. They may like this gray look, but I personally prefer tan. It looks super good. It's really well detailed, of course, like obviously the most detailed that you've ever seen on the sail barge in that top deck. It's just I kind of prefer they use the gray, the tan color instead of the gray one. Now looking more in depth, we get these rail guns that's on each side, just one on each side, and it's really good. Of course, it just goes up and down. You cannot swivel it left or right, unfortunately, but I guess you really don't need to, even though it kind of shows that they can do that in the movie, but you can't for some reason for the set. Now, the one thing that can move is the main like turret gun that was used to destroy the sail barge itself, but it can't quite go a full 360. It can go almost, but then you have to go completely the other way and turn it backwards just to turn it. But it can go up and down. It doesn't need to go like left or right, because it already can do that. It can swivel, and it looks pretty good. Like it's really accurate to how it looks in the movie. Like it's really the closest we have ever gotten to looking very much movie accurate to the movie with the turret gun. And there's this Of course, this really big tile piece, and it can open up. It's a hatch that obviously lets you into the sail barge, or you're coming out into the top of the deck. It obviously works because you can actually go inside the sail barge. There's a couple other hatches in front. There's two of them, two identical like twin doors that also have full access into the, I don't say full access, but there is access to the interior of the sail barge. Just depends how you want to play with it. I mean, I guess you could pretend, because I guess you can't stick your fingers actually in there. I mean, you can stick a finger, but not your whole hand, of course. So a little imaginative play still, but you could drop a minifig in there if you want to, of course. Aside from that, there is the front deck, and there's this nice railing, of course, going across it. And there's a little spot that I guess some people had an issue with, maybe because they thought that it was a missing piece, but it is actually movie accurate, where the front of the rail, it has this missing like hook claw piece to hold it, because in the actual movie is not supposed to be there. So some people actually got confused by that, which I think that's kind of funny, because it is supposed to be like that. That's not a mistake. That is intentional and is movie accurate. So just for anyone who may buy this and be a little confused, it's supposed to be like that. Alright, I kept you all waiting long enough. Let us now get into the interior space of the sail barge, the real fun part, the part that everyone wants to get to, of course, and actually access into. As I said earlier, you can move all 6 panels, you can move them all down, so there's no limited space, and you can even move the top deck where the sails are at, so you get full, complete access to it. Because honestly, looking in there with it on there, you really can't see too well. You have to kind of move everything because it gets a little dark, so you kind of have to move everything to see everything proper. It's super easy to remove. There's no studs connected. It's on tiles, so you just pull them right out. There's no trouble at all. It does remind me of a modular building, because a lot of modular buildings are like that. They have like 1 or 2 studs in the corners of the building for you can pull it off, but this has none, so complete easy access to it, and it's just easy. Looking into the main interior, there's a lot of details, a lot of stuff to interact with. So to move this quickly and get through all the rooms nice and consistently, we'll start with the front room, and that's the cockpit. And there's 2 seats. You can fit 2 minifigs in here. The chairs can recline, of course, and there's a lot of nice detailing on the sides of the main controls. And in the front, there's a lot of stickers, 3 of them to be exact. And on the front main sticker, there's some Arabesh, and I don't exactly know what that means. I think it means warning, if I'm not mistaken, but you can interact with the levers over there a little bit. And then there's a sliding door that you can have open or close, whatever you want to do with that. And moving further down to the second room, there is a ladder, a prison cell, and a weapons rack for any minifig who wants to arm themselves with some nice weapons over there. And there's a little trash can. Not a lot particular in this room, just some typical stuff you'll find in the Jabba sail barge, I guess. And on the side, there's some lights that also add some good detail to it. Now, removing that ladder, it's a little bit of an ugly spot right there. Not particularly the greatest when you remove it, because there's just like this ugly like green tile on both sides, a stud that just sticks out, and it kind of makes it a little awkward, but it does give you more access to everything. The weapons rack in there, and you can remove that prison cell, and then there is a wall that you can also move on the side, on this side or the back of it. And it's just a simple wall. There's like a little like tile piece that's on the back that makes it easier for you to, I suppose, break out of it. And there's a little drainage pipe also on it that I don't know if it's just supposed to drip feed you water or something. I don't know, or if it's broke. I don't know exactly what that's supposed to be. It's a little awkward looking, but it's included, of course, and it does add detail, if that counts for anything. Next room, we have the diner kitchen area, and it has a lot of stuff actually in here. It has a ladder, which for whatever reason it's included. Of course, it's just to get up to the main top deck, but it's just right in the middle of the kitchen. And there's a frog, another trash can, and there's 2 more stickers that has, I forgot what that Arabesh was. I don't feel like looking it up. I don't know. So if you know what it is, please let me know in the comments. But in the main part, there's like, it's really detailed in here. It kind of reminds me of the Bar Door set, but I actually like this one more because I like how it has like, you know, it has a stove and it has these utensils on the wall and a chicken and a bone and just a cup, a little pot, and there's some plates at the bottom. Just, it looks really nice, and there's some cool little stuff at the top, and there's like a printed 1x1 round tile piece. I don't know what it is, but it's just a print of that stuff on there. And There's just, typical stuff you expect in the kitchen, but it just looks so nice. It's really detailed. It looks really nice, and it's to be more expected in this set more than the bar door set, because it was like that wasn't really in there. But this I can expect because Jabba does like to eat like a lot. And the second to last room, we have Jabba's main throne, I suppose you could say, and there's not too much in here because Jabba's kind of making the whole space in here, and there's just some few tiles, of course, you could just put in there. But the main thing is you can take out the main platform that Jabba sits on, and I will discuss that in a later part. But just to remove that, there is not too much, because after that it's just a tile, and there's a little chest over there, and what's in that chest is just a chain where you can hook up Leia and onto Jabba, I suppose, and I've already featured that already. I literally already showed you that, so that's already what's in that chest, but I already took that out, but not particularly too much else in this room in particular. Next up is the smallest and final room to this massive sail barge, and that is Max Rebo's music room, I suppose, and there's just his small organ right there, which I will talk about more a little bit later. But removing that, there's just some pillars on the side that looks pretty accurate to how it looks in the movie, and it's a small area, so that's really about it. And there's this black little stud where that you can actually put a minifig right there. It's an awkward spot. You can put a minifig right there, and they can stick out in the window. They can actually see them. And I forgot to mention on the side there is a sticker of Jabba that is actually in the movie. It's not in that color, but it is shown in the movie. If you pay attention, you can see on the side it's like a portrait of Jabba. Not portrait, but it's more like a sculpting, like etched into the walls. And before we move on, I just want to show the back part of the sail barge where all the panels down. There's not much to see. It's a pretty flat, basic wall, but this is just to show what it looks like at the back of it, because some people might be curious, and I won't lie, I'll be curious too, but this is what it looks like. There's nothing here. There's just that same chest I already mentioned that had just a chain in it that I already removed, so there you go. As I said earlier, I was going to talk about the stuff that you can take out a little bit later. Now here's that part, and there's not too much you can take out as much as I thought it was, but there's a little bit, so we can go ahead and start with the basic ladder. There's nothing too special about it. It's just a simple ladder made by some fence pieces in brown, so you're not really getting much there with that. I mean, of course you can still interact. You can put a minifig on it if you want, of course, just to climb up the ladder, and there you go. Next up, there is the prison cell, which is far more interesting. That there is few details in there. Of course, you have some handcuffs, a broom, and the door can open, of course. And there's a chair that you can sit a minifig in, and on the side, inside the inside the little prison cell, there's some airbrush. It said Han was here. That one I did remember, and there's some tally marks on it, so it's a pretty good sticker. I actually like it. And there's just a single clear little stud that I guess supposed to indicate that there's water there, and that's really about it with that. And next we have the ladder from the kitchen area, and this is probably the best one out of them all because I just really like how it looks. Like the best like side thing you can take out because it's a really nice color. It's like this like warm orangish brown color that it just looks really good, and it's tiled off on all the sides, and even at the bottom it doesn't look too bad, and it's a pretty good build, and it does what it does. Next up we have Max Rebo's Red Ball Jet organ. And I won't lie, I thought it was a piano he was playing, but it is a organ, and it looks really good. It's super small. It's kind of like the most flimsiest thing to put on the stud, because on the little point you put it at, because it's really small at the bottom of it. It kind of reminds me of Eggman's pod from Sonic. That actually what it reminds me of more of, because I could just see that. But last and certainly not least, we have Jabba's pallet here, I guess we would call it. So there's just a little guardrail. This is where you put Salacious Chromat on the side, and there's this little thing. I guess that's where Jabba gets his drinks at. I don't know exactly, but at the bottom there's just these 2x4 little, I don't know what you call them, but it's just where you put the studs at. This is where they stick at. And on the top there's just that 2x1 like single stud tile that's where you mainly stick Jabba at. It's probably the most dense and detailed build out of the small stuff you can take out. obviously, because it has to be big to accommodate Jabba's mighty size. Just in case you're curious, I wanted to show off the top deck with it removed from the sail barge, and there's not too much to go over yet again. However, there is the spot I forgot to mention on the side. There is these rubber spots that's where you hook in the two panels on the side. It has the 4x4, but it has like a little sticking piece out. I don't know what you'll call it, but it goes into that rubber spot and it holds it together. That's actually how that part particularly holds together, and it's really solid how it works, honestly. And it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall off or anything. It's actually really good and sturdy, and I quite like it. Now we finally arrived to the main event that everyone wants to hear everyone talk about, and that's the minifigs, of course. And we're going to start off with the easiest one to talk about, which is C-3PO, and this is by far the laziest cash grab I've seen Lego ever do. They just wanted to save that much money that they just could not be bothered to just give him the dual molded legs like they have in other 2 sets. They don't want to do that. They decided to go cheap and just give you a really standard one that you see in other sets that doesn't have the dual molded legs, or even the side leg printing. They just did not give us that for some reason in a UCS set, might I add, because I thought UCS was kind of supposed to be top of the line minifigures. Like, you're supposed to get the best of the best. You know, their slogan is only the best is good enough, but clearly this was not the best, and this was not good enough. Like, it literally wasn't, but that's what they gave us for poor C-3PO here. They just got cheap, I suppose. Next up is Bib Fortuna, and I like the printing, and that's about it. I think the printing is really nice and well detailed, and it just really looks like Return of the Jedi Bib Fortuna. However, the face, I don't like the eyes, and the Leku is the exact same as the one in the Book of Boba Fett set, which I have right here, and it's a bit disappointing to see that Bib Fortuna is reduced to kind of they just got a lesser version because they're showing fat Bib Fortuna Leku instead of his proper one that he had in Return of the Jedi, because he was pretty skinny back then. But Lego, once again, wanted to be cheap, so there you go. And next up we have everyone's favorite character, Wolf, and he has some pretty good torso printing and a nice head mold hat helmet thing, and it's really good. It's just, I don't know anything about this character. He is in Return of the Jedi, but I don't really recognize him too much, honestly, because he's kind of in the background. He's like literally cannon fodder, so there's not much to say about him. Next we have everyone's other favorite character, Keithaba, the dog alien that fell into the Sarlacc pit. So not much to say other than he has some decent torso printing and no leg printing on a UCS set, of course. And he has a head mold, I think that was from the Pirates theme, so that's good. Next we have Vizam, or Vizam, I don't know how you say his name, but decent torso printing, as always. Face prints as well is also good. He does not have a second face, and he has this head mold helmet that I've never seen before. It might have been used before, but I don't have any prior knowledge of that, and he's really good. Just another character that I don't know anything of other than just he has some decent printing. Red Jabba's sail barge will be without a Gamorrean guard here, and this is the exact same one from the Book of Boba Fett, and it's really good. The leg printing is good, and the torso mold piece is also really good, so there's nothing to complain about. It's just a good minifig. An uninteresting minifig, we have R2-D2. He is the same that we always get. He got the back printing, but he has the little table and the little cups on him. Looks good, but just an R2-D2. Finally, now we get to an interesting one. We have Max Rebo, and it would be impossible to literally mess up on him because the one they had in 2013 was already perfect. This is not the same mold, but basically the same mold. It is a different mold, but the same looking mold, and it looks almost identical to the one in 2013, but I think the mold on his head is slightly darker than the 2013 one, but that's the only slight difference. Now, the most controversial minifig in the entire set, and that is Slave Leia, or Princess Leia, because Disney doesn't like you saying slave anymore, so I won't say that. But this is the Leia costume that she is, Slave Leia costume that she is wearing in this particular set, because obviously this is the part where she'd be wearing it, and there's definitely some problems with it. One, let's just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. It's the dual molded legs. Not the fact that they're dual molded, because that's actually cool, but it's because they couldn't print on the side and just have that slight bit of I guess, skin showing, quote unquote. But honestly, I don't really see the issue because it's not like Lego is exactly human proportioned. I mean, I know the original ones look like she was like wearing a thong, but I think this was not going to kill anyone if they just had it like that. Honestly, if this was what they're going to do with Slave Leia here, I rather them just put. I rather you just use the original one, the one in the 2013 one. They could just give us the exact same minifig, and I would have complained less actually because now I never had the problem with the face before, but I don't know. Looking at it now, just kind of I don't know, just doesn't really fit this minifig all that well. I doubt she'd be making these facial expressions really at all. Maybe the second one, but the first one definitely not. But the only real good thing she has is the hair mold, which is really good. Like that ponytail goes on the front and it really complements her look. But I would argue and say this looks better for the 2013 one because that one just looked better. But regardless, this is what we got. The Vile Gangster himself, Jabba the Hutt here, and this is a brand new mode, of course, because they got rid of all the old modes back in 2013 or whatever year they got rid of it. But this is a new mode for Jabba, and this is my first time ever owning a Jabba before, so it's kind of interesting. He's very the material on the plastic on him feels very weird, but besides the point, I don't think he's really that much different except for the lines of his fat rolls are just a bit more like they're colored a different color. They're not, instead of being like brownish, they're now like a bluish grayish kind of color, which I don't know, just didn't really make a difference. So I think it's pretty much the same. This might be some other slight differences, but I really couldn't tell you. But it's a good job of minifig. He can swivel and his upper half can spin a whole 360. His arms can move up and down, and that's about it on the mobility. So he can hold a few things, I guess, if you put it in the right spot. But yeah, that's about it with Jabba. We also have the display stand for all the minifigs, and it's nice looking, I suppose, but I personally won't be using this at all in the displaying of the sail barge. Personally, I'm just going to have them interacting in the set, so this is completely useless. Next up is the stand for Jabba and the display plaque, which also, I don't really care for the part for Jabba to sit on. I just care for the plaque itself, and the plaque looks really good. Thankfully, they've gotten rid of that really ugly shine look with the UCS TIE Interceptor, so don't have to worry about that. And also, it has the 25 Star Wars anniversary brick on there as well, if you care about that, even though it comes in like 6-7 other sets, so I don't also care for that either. So the plaque is really the main point of interest here. So honestly, I kind of just might just take that part off where you sit Jabba on because he's going to be in Barge, so I don't really need that. I just care for the plaque itself. It looks really good. And the set is technically not fully complete unless you get the $80 Sand Skiff and Sarg Pit set. That's an additional $80 you have to pay for this set, but it does give this very complete look to the sail barge itself, so it looks really nice. Honestly, you really need to buy two of them because there's two Sand Skiffs that's actually in this scene, but you mainly see the one, but there is two because literally there's a second one because Luke crosses on that one in the movie, if you remember. But yeah, so even one is not completely perfect. It's a lot closer to the full scene than if you didn't have it at all. But it's something that you do have to pay $80 to get, so I did forget to mention that there is a slight little peephole that you can actually see through the sail barge. I mean, all the windows you can actually potentially have minifigs right there to stand up there, but there's really like one main spot where you can have them like super close up. I chose Leia because that would be the person that actually was looking throughout the window like that. So there's this little spot. It's like this 2x1 little tile plate piece that you can place her on. It's a bit awkward, honestly. So it can work, but just when you look at it like that, it just looks weird. But when you put up the panels and everything, it looks just fine. But it's just the process of putting it right there and just how it looks on the inside, just a little weird. Underneath the barge, there's this nice little detailed bezel part that kind of goes like, it rings around under the barge itself. Honestly, it's kind of the main part where you put everything on. It's just that the plates that you put after that makes it kind of look like it's going inward, and I just really like that. And also at the bottom, what keeps this thing propped up is the stands. There's 3 of them. There's 3 little black stands, and it works perfectly fine. And also, I didn't have any footage for it, but when you pick it up, it's like one of the best sets to, I guess, pick up easy, because honestly, there's no real trouble of picking it up. You just pick it up. It don't feel like it's gonna fall at your hands or anything like that. It's just, you pick it up and you can move it really anywhere you want. Honestly, this is probably the easiest UCS set to move around without any worry of it falling apart in your hand, or if you're moving and you put it in a car or something. It's pretty sturdy. It's really sturdy on that. So in conclusion, what do I think of this Jabba sail barge? Should you buy this set or not? And I personally say, because $500 is an insanely ridiculous price, I think that is just way overpriced of a set to even afford, because it honestly is, because there's just no real justifying $500 for a set that doesn't even have over 4,000 pieces. Like, and it's not like the biggest UCS set in the world, because compared to a few other ones that I have on display here, that it just doesn't really stack up very well. Like, because there's other sets that just are dramatically bigger, and $500 is a lot. Personally, in a perfect world, this set should have been just $400, $350, because I don't think 500 is a justified price. Now, if you did buy this set on October 3rd, you would have gotten the Luke's lightsaber gift for purchase, but honestly, I still don't think it's really worth that much. And personally, if you did get that, I would probably just recommend selling it. I know everyone's already doing that anyway, but yeah, I would probably just sell it, because I don't think it's something you gotta have. I mean, it's a cool gift for purchase, don't get me wrong, I think it's really cool, but I don't think it's you have to get it for that. Personally, I would wait for the double VIP points to buy this set. Now, time of me recording this, it is, so I don't know how long it's gonna last, and wherever I get this video uploaded, it's just the time of me recording this on October 16th is me recording this. It does have double VIP points if you buy the set then, so maybe I'll wait till then, or another chance to do that, or when it goes on sale. What I will give the score for this set, I will rate this set I'm probably gonna give it like a 8-1. Like, it's a really good set. Like, honestly, the set itself is good. The minifigs are kind of lackluster, besides like Jabba and Max Rebo. The rest of them are kind of the Leia is okay, but I think there's definitely some room for improvement on that. But yeah, 8-1, that's my score. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, because I like to read every single comment. And join me next time when I look at probably the Luke's lightsaber or the sand skiff, because those are the sets I were planning on reviewing after this. So join me then, and with that, I will bid you all adieu.